Episode 4 of the Shape Marketer podcast. Chris here. This episode is all about Creative Operations Cranium Carnival, which is a 7-part written content piece about the field, function, role, and responsibility of creative operations, as well as the profile and skill set of a professional who would do this kind of work. I'm going to be reading from the content piece here on this episode, but definitely check out the written content piece on theshapemarketer.com, which has visuals from one of my art portfolio pieces called Cranium Carnival. Part 1, a formula for creative operations. Creative ops is kind of a niche function, but at the same time, it's vital for any organization. And that sounds ironic, and it is ironic. It usually sits within marketing on an org chart, but it can sometimes be its own department. But either way, creative ops exists to solve a pressing business problem, originality. In doing so, it streamlines the creative process to enable organizations to better communicate internally and message out to customers externally. It bridges art and organization, or in other words, brand strategy and business objectives. Creative ops is an orchestration of people, which is, stakeholders, teams, departments, leadership, etc. Process, this is all your structured workflows, how resources are allocated, project management, systems thinking kind of stuff. And third, your tooling. This is all the data, technology, software, and even AI that you might be using in your org. Having roots in mathematics, I thought it'd be fun to come up with a way to display creative ops as a formula. And here's what I came up with. C times M plus PPP to the agile plus ops to the AI. There are 3 parts to this formula, reading from right to left. Creative and marketing teams working together, which has a multiplier effect, that's the C times M, plus the process of project, program, and portfolio management, which can be exponentially multiplied with agile methodology, plus an operational system of support, which can be exponentially multiplied with AI technology. This formula may change as the field evolves, but I think as of this recording in early 2026, it captures the essence of creative ops focus on people, process, and tools. More about this formula as we go through the parts. Part 2, figure the field. The creative ops field is relatively new in its teenage years compared to its adult years counterpart, marketing operations. But there's still plenty of trailblazing to be done. So how to define it now, and especially where it's heading, are evolving. If we look at it as a living system that's evolving and in a constant state of experimentation, you'd ask, what is the system designed to produce? But creative ops is not designed to produce the same thing in every organization. Some organizations care about scale, some might care more about story, and others might prioritize impact. Creative ops should be able to address all 3, though, adapting to business objectives and shifting priorities. The field is made up of creative ops managers, coordinators, directors, project managers, designers, copywriters, videographers, photographers, and other creative professionals, who I'd argue are all feeling probably a lot of different emotions regarding AI. I've personally decided to cautiously embrace this technology and stay informed of its evolution. My hope is that we as creative professionals figure out a way to leverage AI for automation and taking the place of that mechanical work and supplying us with the data that we need to free us up so we can strategize better, work together better, and double down on great storytelling. Part 3. Finance the function. The creative ops function largely depends on where it's positioned in the org structure. If it sits within the marketing function, it might mainly serve marketing. This is a natural fit because the 2 functions largely speak the same language, and creative ops is supplying the creative that feeds the marketing engine. Marketing can also support creative with data to better inform the creative process. This is the C times M part of the formula. Marketing and creative working together in support of people, process, and data, and the tools having a multiplier effect. The creative ops function can also live outside of marketing and support all areas of the business because everyone needs creative content. And in this way, creative ops can level up every department and align all creative work with business goals. When positioned in the org structure as its own department, its function might be more specifically focused on ideation, innovation, originality, novelty, impact, and setting up environments for creatives to be ultra creative. Regardless of positioning, the creative ops function should be seen as strategic, tactical, and operational servicing. This again aligns with people, process, and tools. Find the good friction that creates conversation and gentle debate to bring forth the best creative ideas from the team, and then try and eliminate the bad friction that slows down the process. Once again, the irony. Part 4, resource the role. The creative ops role, which can be one person or a team, has a list of duties and expectations that roll up to the goal of the function, which is to remove friction from the process. Perhaps not surprisingly, they are aligned with the 3 major themes of people, process, and tools. The creative ops role works well with people, facilitates collaboration, cross-functional work, and communication in general. This helps create an environment where process can be evaluated, streamlined, and set up to evolve. Project, program, and portfolio management come together here. This is the PPP to the agile part of the formula. The agile exponent is my reference to agile methodology, which I personally believe is a really good fit for creative production, particularly in regard to agile workflows and ceremonies that help facilitate a creative environment and an empowered team. Agile creates a good vibe. The role of creative ops also scales from project management and tactical work to more strategic work by zooming out to a systems level view of the organization. Creative ops looks at what kind of tools, technology, and data are needed and continuously improve those operations to get that information to the teams. This is the ops to the AI part of the formula where operations can be exponentially multiplied with AI support. Part 5, risk the responsibility. The creative ops function has a list of responsibilities, and this is not an exhaustive list, but a pretty good one. Facilitate alignment on vision, create a roadmap for implementing it, resource the project, ensure that everyone involved in the project understands the objectives, keep creative concepts aligned with the overall strategy, anticipate obstacles and mitigate risk, find creative solutions to keep projects on course, set up and run a complete environment that allows for creative teams to be creative, keep assets and tools organized for storage and distribution, optimize workflows, manage the approval process, manage the quality control and regulations process, provide data performance reporting, and continuously improve processes with supportive operations. Part 6, profile of a professional. Creative work is ultimately a conversation with the audience that is meant to convey an idea, elicit an emotion, or inspire an action. This is especially true about creative work produced for a brand to engage with its customers. The creative ops professional understands this. They leverage data and make better informed decisions on types of creative content that will resonate with the audience. And in this way, data is seen as a partner that enables conversation. Having data in the system, along with people, process, and tools, the creative ops professional facilitates customer feedback. And this two-way conversation are much better than one, that's for sure. The creative ops professional has affinity for the creative process, likely being a creative themselves and understanding the steps of production. They also have affinity for business operations to support it. And in this way, the creative ops professional balances their creative brain and operations brain. With their creative brain, they have the ability to ideate, problem solve, empathize, Strategize, design, and layout. With their operations brain, the ability to measure, analyze, connect, collaborate, execute, and implement. A creative ops professional is thus highly skilled, specialized, and dynamic in the way they create and run a complete environment that streamlines the creative process. An environment that is disciplined and vulnerable at the same time. Likely having roots in design, brand, marketing, and project management, the creative ops professional is an exceptional communicator, constantly curious, seeks connection, collaboration, and community. They understand that the whole system is greater than the sum of the parts. They need these skills to build better process and adapt when needed. They understand that process helps you more efficiently reach business goals. But there are times when the unexpected and unplanned happen and process gets in the way. The creative ops professional will keep everything on track with a calm and cool demeanor. The creative ops professional embraces technology as a means for leveling up tools, processes, and operations. They might specialize in or have keen interest in leveraging AI to exponentially change the way folks work in their system. They see AI as a partner that can absorb mechanical and tactical work, provide us with better data and make informed decisions, and craft better strategy. The creative ops professional embraces the strategic, tactical, and servicing nature of their role. And lastly, but perhaps most importantly, the creative ops professional understands that creatives and people in general are dynamic. Sometimes we want structure, sometimes we want to be free. Sometimes we need goals focused, sometimes we need no rules. The creative ops professional practices systems design thinking. Part 7, voice the vocabulary. Creative operations has an amazing list of vocabulary. A while ago, I started making an alphabetized list of all the buzzwords that I would pick up from work or books, podcasts, and other research that I do. And interestingly, alphabetizing them brought to light some themes across the various letters of the alphabet. So this 200 plus word list is available along with the rest of this article that I'm reading from at theshapemarketer.com. All right, well, that's a wrap for this episode. I hope you picked up some new things about the field, function, role, and responsibility of creative operations, along with the type of skill set a professional would have who would excel at this kind of work.